Oui, pardon. Ça m'arrête les enfants.
Madame,
Hein? Sur les prix, secrétaire général, Richie, sur les autres. Oh, attends, merci beaucoup, mon épouse.
Ça va, vous allez bien, madame?
Ministre.
You know, during my past tenure as Prime Minister, President Clinton wrote to all heads of state, or heads of government as well, in Africa, to ask them to come and lobby for our work. President Clinton told me what he wanted to do before the end of his term. He wanted to show that he did something significant for Africa. And to my surprise, most African leaders did not want to participate, to go and lobby. I remember President Mandela was here with his finance minister, and they told me, I think we should avoid going. It would be good for Africa. I wasn't quite sure why. I asked Maurice, who was a good friend, who was dealing with a lot of these things, to try to persuade them that it is in the interest of Africa to have our work. Somehow they did not. And I must tell you, I knew the foreign minister was here, but he wasn't the foreign minister then. I was advised by the Foreign Office of Mauritius not to do it. The argument was, it's not going to cost. And you'll go to the United States, and then the press will say here, and you work there for 1 week, we watch result. And my reaction was, the President of the United States is asking you to come and lobby for something. I will ignore the advice I got from the Foreign Office, and I will try to go and persuade you. And I'll tell you something. This is why I keep telling people, you must try enough. You must just give up. If I give up, I wouldn't be here now. Then, I think she was at the time the Assistant Secretary for African Affairs, if I'm not mistaken. Later on, she became very important post, but later on she became National Secretary at Ghana. I'm talking of Susan Rice. She wrote to me a letter to say when I come to Washington, she would like me to meet different people to lobby for our work. And she said especially, I want you to meet Jesse Helms. Jesse Helms, Senator Jesse Helms, was from North Carolina. He was the chairperson of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And he was dead against us. Dead against. He said, no question. And he was controlling lots of votes. So I said, okay, I will meet him. And then, I must tell you this small story. Mr. Jesse Helms responded to Susan Rice's invitation to come to Washington. He said, who is this guy? She wants to meet me. Tell him to come to North Carolina. Why should I go and meet him in Washington? That was his attitude. So Susan Rice rang me and said, I'm sorry, this is what he's saying, so you will not go. You're cancelling our meeting with him. Because you're the Prime Minister and he's the Senator. I said, no, forget this. I have no chip on my shoulder. Tell him I will come to see him in North Carolina. And I went. He welcomed us very well, my wife was with me. And then he started his meeting with all the senators there that he was controlling. He said, the Prime Minister has done us the honor of coming here. But let me tell you, straight away, that we're not going to go that far. So when I spoke, I said, I understand. But I said, did you know, Mr. Helms, that you and I have something in common? Now think about his reaction. He's the Senator of the United States. This guy comes from a small island called Mauritius. And he said there's something common between the two of us. And he said, but what is common between us? I said, I read what you said at the UN. He said that there is too much getting together of African states. That they gang up together. He was very extremely conservative. They gang up together and they vote against policies that the United States or motions that the United States want to have. And then suggested that each country, depending on how much they pay, they contribute for the UN, their vote should be called by half. In other words, the country should have half a vote, not one vote. And I said to him, you know, you said this. And you also against that gang up and all this. You know, I also criticize heads of state in Africa to make a plea for a reduction of the drastic increase in tariff applied to exports from Mauritius. I requested that the tariff, the suspension of the tariff, was 40%, was going to apply to Mauritius export. We wanted a suspension of these 40%. We subsequently engaged a dialogue with the United States Trade Representative to negotiate a deal that addresses the trade imbalance while enhancing the partnership between our two countries. As per the executive order issued by the White House yesterday, the new tariff rate applicable to our exports at the moment is 15% from today. I think from yesterday. That is the same rate that will apply to several other countries, especially African countries, except South Africa, for some reason. It's much, much higher, and there's another country on the continent. Even India has had a higher tariff, I noticed. The 15% tariff imposed on Mauritius exports is the lower one, for instance, than 36%, I think, applicable to some countries, even more to others. And there are direct competitors of Mauritius, especially in the government sector. But I've already solicited a bilateral meeting with the United States side and intend to propose a bilateral partnership framework between Mauritius and the United States, which will not only address this tariff issue, but also make Mauritius one of the first African countries to sign a trade deal with the United States. I want to reassure all economic operators, especially those who rely on the US market, that government is closely following the matter with the US. The 15% tariff is applicable pending further discussions. While we appreciate the reduction in tariff rate in Mauritius exports to the US from 40% to 15%, we must continue our engagement with the US. I intend to personally pursue this engagement with the United States to ensure continued trade between Mauritius and the US. The high-level committee set up a government to closely monitor the situation and liaise with all public, private and foreign stakeholders, including the Corporate Council of Africa, CCA, also needs to pursue these actions. Let me also say a few words now about the African growth and opportunity.